All right, Musa and correct. Shalom, shalom. Yahba Shemel Shabrak Thumb. To the brothers, Yahweh Shemal Thumb by Shemel Shah. To the sisters, all right, we continuing on. Shalom. You recall Yahweh Shem Shabrak
Shalom.
Thumb, Most High in Christ.
No backslash.
All right, we in the game. So we continuing here. You in line with the biblical scripture breakdown class, ISUPK Virginia. Precinct Captain Natas Agnes Shah. We're picking up where we left off, talking about our heritage of faith and being a warrior and what the brothers and sisters were being taught in the New Testament. All right. So we continuing from where we were, learning about the first half of what's being referenced. Of course, everything in the New Testament is talking about what was happening in the Old Testament, explaining it, explaining what the Lord wanted from the very beginning. And is that our people just did not understand the Bible. That's why Christ came. Just like today, our people still don't understand the Bible. That's why you got to come into those schools that were set up by the prophets, the same way it is today in the ISUPK. The Lord put the spirit on men to set up these schools to go and teach brothers and sisters how to understand the Bible, how to come back to our heritage and our culture. So we're going to start where we were. We're just going to read to touch back where we were. At the end of last class, we finished with the offering, the sacrifice in Genesis chapter 4, where Cain rose up against his brother. They both brought an offering to the Most High because they knew clearly that the Lord required an offering. They knew exactly what offering the Most High required. One brother bought what the Lord required. The other brother decided he was going to do whatever he felt the Lord should accept, which is today the same spirit of our oppressor. And this is what the Lord has been trying to teach our people since the very beginning. This is what the actual faith that the Bible is talking about, this is what it's based on. So we're going to go back now. The Lord had punished Cain for his crimes. For everybody that knows, a little backdrop to the story, Cain unalived Abel. Everybody's heard of Cain and Abel, one of the most famous stories in the Bible. This is the first ever recorded unaliving, you understand, a homicide in human history because the spirit of our oppressor. Now, at this time, this is the very origins and foundations of our oppressor. It's important to know who the devil the Bible speaks of is. Everybody talks about stomp on the devil, tell the truth, shame the devil, devil this. Everybody talks about the devil, but according to the Bible, the devil is a man. And these are the origins. And this is what brothers and sisters were being taught in the New Testament. In this Hebrews, the 11th chapter, this was what was being referenced. So I'm going to read Hebrews 11 and 4. And then Trooper Call, I'm going to have you go back to just get some backdrop on Genesis chapter 4 and verse 10. After he'd already slew his brother, Genesis chapter 4 and verse 10. So you just hold right there. I'm going to read Hebrews 11 and 4 just to get some backdrop as to reference what we're talking about. So Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 4, that's what this series, if you will, is discussing. So it's talking about the faith that we have. What's your faith in believing in Christ and serving the Most High? This is what it is based on. The evidence of the things that happened that our forefathers went through. Being in the truth, serving the Most High is very important because this is not for you only. This is for your people, for the future generations of your people, for your nation. That is what being in the truth is for. There's no personal salvation, all of that selfishness that the Christian church teaches our people. That is a cause, a major cause for all of the problems in our families, our homes, our communities, is that selfishness, which is the exact opposite of what it says in the Bible. So this is what he's talking about, the faith. So verse 4, Hebrews 11 and 4 says, by faith, Abel offered unto the Most High a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, which is referenced in Genesis, the 4th chapter. The only reason that they would be able to teach these brothers and sisters about this is because this is what the disciples were teaching them in the schools that were set up all throughout the New Testament, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. The Most High testifying of his gifts. The Lord stood with Abel testifying of his gifts, that the Lord said that Abel was righteous because he brought what the Lord required. And by it, he being dead, even though he was unalived by his brother, yet speaketh. How does he speak? This is a very important thing to learn about the Bible, because the Christian church teaches you once your life is over, you're gone. You understand? You go up to live in some cloud in the sky, some magical sandcastle. All your relatives are there. You know, if it's in the past, just leave it in the past. And that is incorrect. And that's there's a lot of important lessons in the book of Genesis. That's why we're going over this, because you brothers and sisters in the truth, this is what your faith is based on. These principles, these doctrines, the same things that brothers and sisters were being taught in the New and Old Testament. So this is what's being explained. That blood speaks from the ground. All right. So even though our oppressor has slaughtered the righteous, slaughtered the innocents, slaughtered, unalived our people, the blood that they shed still cries to the Most High for justice. It's not over because George Floyd is not alive, because the 77 million Native Americans of the tribe of Gad and Reuben are not alive. That's just the end of it. The 99 million so-called Negroes that were, tortured and enslaved and lost their lives during the transatlantic slave trade, well, that was in the past. That's over. That is not a spiritual concept. And that's an evil spirit and a demon that Christianity and religion puts on our people. That blood still requires justice. The blood that the Dahomey warriors that the Woman King movie was about, they were executing us for trying to get away from slavery, because they were fighting and selling us just like we were fighting all the rest of the West African tribes. You understand? And the Arabs and the East Indians and our oppressor here on this side, on the western side of the world. Spain and France and the Dutch and the English, the British, the Italians, the Germans, they all still have to pay for what they've done, because that blood calls for justice. So now go back to Genesis. Trooper Call is going to take us back to Genesis to see what we're talking about. Give me Genesis. Start at verse 8. Bub Kershaw. 4 and 8.
I was getting a little feedback on my end too, Cap.
Okay.
But I think it seems to be pretty good right this minute. So that's Genesis chapter 4, verse 10.
Con, start at verse 8.
Verse 8. Genesis chapter 4, verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother.
His what?
His brother.
Very important things. These words, every word in the Bible means something. Is very important for you to get used to recognizing when something is said. Abel, his brother. This was his brother. Same mother, same father. And this spirit the Lord wants you to put into your soul, because this is the spirit of our oppressor. Knowing who your enemy is very important in a battle. And as a people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans do not know that our oppressor is our enemy. We don't know who our enemy is. And God has been trying to teach us this from the very beginning of the Bible. That's why we're going to spend a little time here, and then we're going to progress on from where we left off last week. All right. His brother. Okay, so keep going.
And it came to pass.
All right.
When they were in the field.
They were in the field. Remember, these words are precepts. In the field, in the field. That's a very spiritual word, because you're going to find precepts in a minute about who is in the field. That's very important to know who our oppressor is, because spirits don't disappear. You understand? Life is in cycles. Everything that has been in the past is exactly what is now. Everything regenerates and turns in cycles. You understand? There's no new thing under the sun, as Ecclesiastes chapter 3 has explained. So the spirit that's going to be in this man and every other man, once your life is over, your spirit goes back to the Most High. And then when your spirit goes back to the Lord, that is when your spirit faces judgment for how you lived in that life. Then you are reborn back into the earth again as a baby with that same spirit in a new body to new parents, some male relative of your father's lineage before. That's how that goes. All right. So keep going.
That Cain rose up against Abel, his brother,
Uh-huh. And what happened?
and slew him.
He slew his brother. He unalived his brother. This is where we went over the last time. He took his brother's life. You understand? So go from there. And we want to keep going down. Give me verse, just read 9 and 10.
Come. Verse 9. And the Most High said unto Cain, where is thy brother?
The Most High said unto Cain,
And he
asked him a
said,
question. Right. He asked him a question. Where's your brother? Now, the Most High asked, he already knew what happened, but he wanted him to answer. And this is so you can get the spirit of our oppressor. Keep going.
and he said, I know not.
Now, I don't know where my brother is, even though he took his brother's life. Now, you got to remember, when you see us out on the street, you see the videos, you see the oppressors, they're talking, I wasn't there, I didn't do it, that was a long time ago, I don't know. Like, the Lord has an answer for all of that. Even if they were there when that happened, they would still pretend like they had nothing to do with it. That is the spirit of our oppressor. You understand? That's why Christ has to come and put them in chains. They don't have an ability, for the most part, to feel remorse for what they've done. It's like a wolf. A wolf is not going to feel bad about what it did. You understand? It's not going to feel bad because that's its nature. It's just a beast. All right. So keep going.
Am I my brother's keeper?
He said, is it my brother's keeper? It's my responsibility to keep up with him. This is the spirit of our oppressor. And the Lord wants you to learn this. You understand? Coming into the truth. And this will help get all of the evil that Christianity has put on you, making you believe that you are supposed to love our oppressor, that you're supposed to love everybody in the other nations. The only people that the Most High requires you to love are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And as a people, our direct love for our oppressor cripples us. It cripples us to the point where we don't have any love left for one another. You understand? And this is what the Lord wants us to learn. That's why we're going over this again. Am I my brother's keeper? Give me verse 10.
Verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done?
The Lord asked him a question. What did you do? Go ahead. Triple call, go ahead. I think you froze. I think you froze. I think your signal may have froze, brother. You might need to leave out, come back in. I'm not sure. It looked like you froze. All right. So he asked him a question. He said, what hast thou done? What have you done? This is what he's saying. Why is he asking him, what have you done? Because just like it said in Hebrews, this is a very spiritual lesson, very important to learn. When it says his blood testifies that he was righteous. Your blood is alive. Even if your life is over, your blood is alive. What you do is alive. What you say is alive. Your blood is alive. Life is not just what you think, what you want it to be, what you believe. Like the Lord created life. That's not something that you determine and you dictate. Like the Lord created life. And there are important things about life that God wants us to learn that will be the difference between you unaliving your brothers and sisters, because we'll care about life more, as opposed to us just believing it's your personal decision if you want to take somebody's life, just because you're upset or you frustrated, or you had a bad day, or you having a hard life, or whatever the case is. Like, the Lord appoints life. And it's important to transition our minds from thinking how we feel versus what the Lord actually says. And that's a very important transition. Some brothers and sisters, it takes longer than others, but it's a spiritual thing. And faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. You are washed through the washing of the water of the word, which is Ephesians chapter 5 and 26. That's what's happening right now. So now he said, the voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now thou art cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hands. Like, the earth is going to tell. Like, it's not over just because you bury and hide the body. The earth is going to tell. You understand? The blood is going to cry to the Most High for justice. So this moment on, the Lord punished this Cain. He punished Cain, which is verse 12. You're going to be a fugitive and a wanted criminal all throughout the earth. And he said, of course, my punishment is greater than I can bear. In verse 13, his spirit not wanting to take responsibility for the crimes and the horrible acts that they do, which is why the Lord has to step in and punish them. Just like a bear or a wolf, they don't have a conscience, or a hawk or some bird or predator. They don't have a conscience. While they catch some rabbit, they catch some goat, some animal, they ripping its guts out, ripping the face off, the animal squealing, trying to get away. They just tear the fish in half. They don't have an ability to have a conscience about what they're doing. And for our safety, the Lord tried to protect us from them by keeping us separate and giving us a culture and rules that would inherently protect us from them, which, of course, our leaders told us to break and violate, which leave us without protection, physically, spiritually, economically, financially, every way possible. We are without protection from our oppressors. That is why we come into the truth, and you learn how to gain the Most High's protection and rebuild the defenses for our people, our nation, our children, for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which is why the Lord called you here into the truth, into this body. You understand? All right. Yeah, it looks like something going on with your connection, because everybody else is able to see and hear me clear. Everybody, just briefly give me a 1 into the chat if you're able to see and hear me clear. Just give me a 1 real quick. It looks like I'm clear on my end. Y'all just give me a 1 or something real quick so I know. All right. Now I'm gonna keep moving. So that's a don't sweat it. Don't sweat it, the water troop. All right. Looks like it might be something with the reception, because I know it kept blacking out. Okay, Most High in Christ. Y'all good to go. So what he's saying here in Genesis, the 4th chapter, the Lord driven him from upon the face of the earth. That's in 14. That's why they come from the caves. From the face of the earth is the land. If you're looking at something's face, you're looking down on the earth. Or if you're looking at the world, what you see is the face. The Lord driven him from the face of the earth, which is up into the caves and the mountains. That's why they call a Caucasian. The word Caucasian means cave dweller. They come from the Black Sea. You come from the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia, between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, off the Gulf of Aqaba. That is where the so-called Caucasian man comes from. No land belongs to him. This was a curse and a punishment that the Lord put on Cain, that is going to be reborn back into the earth again. So we went over last week who the man of sin is. The man of sin in 2 Thessalonians chapter should be like chapter 3. Does everybody remember that? We went over last week, 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. Let's touch on that briefly before we continue. So just something, this precept I want to go over again, where the Lord says, you got to remember, he slew his brother. Very important. He slew his brother. That's what it says. He rose up against his brother. He's in the field. This is the spirit of Cain. He's in the field. He wants to slay his brother. These are important precepts to learn because later on, when you get into the Bible, these precepts are going to identify who is being talked about. You got to remember, there are no words written just for the sake of writing the word. The words are being written there. Every word has a purpose. Every word is there for a reason. Every comma, quotation, exclamation point, every time something is written twice, if, ands, or buts, all of those things have meanings, and they're very important in the breakdown of the scriptures. All right. So real quick, Isaiah, just want to post this in there because this is how you learn to read and understand the Bible. It's not a comic book. It's not a graphic novel. You understand? The Lord said line upon line, precept upon precept. This is how you read the Bible, and what you're getting are precepts so that you can understand what's being said. Cain's pigment. Right, we're going to get to that in just a moment. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But this is how you read the Bible. Line upon line, precept upon precept. These are the precepts describing what's talked about in Hebrews, the 11th chapter. And we're going to get more to identify who the Bible is talking about. All right, so I posted that scripture in there. Mysteries. Very important to learn. This is what it is. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 1. This is who the prophets of the Lord are. This is who's in the Isupk. Like we are stewards, the mysteries of God. These things that you are learning are the mysteries of the Most High. Nobody is given the spirit to understand these things except they humble themselves and get in the Isupk under commanding General Yohana, who the Lord put in place to rule and lead this nation on the earth. You understand? Under our King Yahweh Shah, of course. These mysteries in the Bible, this is how you understand it. All right. So now we got Genesis. We're talking about what happened. We got the first recorded unaliving on the earth. Cain, he's a man in the field. He rose up. He slew his brother, sheds innocent blood. This is the spirit of Cain. He gets a punishment. The Lord takes him off the earth, and now he puts him off the face of the earth, which is the land where you see, into the caves, which is not in the face of the earth. All right, verse 15, in Genesis 4 and 15, it says, and the Most High said unto him, therefore, Salakia, future, 1 second. There we go. 15 is very important. It says, and the Most High said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. That's what you call the complexion. Salakia. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. The complexion for the protection. Everybody knows what that means. That skin, even older black people that don't want to say it because of Christianity, they'll say, what's going on? Why they doing it? They'll do like this. They'll just rub their skin so everybody know they talking in code. The Lord gave Cain the complexion for the protection. You understand? AKA making him a so-called white man so that the blood can show through his skin so that you can tell that this is the man that sheds blood on the earth. This was a mark. No other man on the planet looked like this. This is the mark that the Lord set on Cain. It's not just his physical appearance. He was different from everyone else on the planet. Of course, now plenty of people can be mistaken for, other nations and can be mistaken for a white man or something like that. So that's not specifically saying anyone who looks and appears as a so-called white man is. There are plenty of brothers and sisters that are very, very light-skinned, very, very, bright. You might even mistake them. Different tribes, all of the tribes. You got different brothers and sisters that look and appear that way. What is important is who your father is. But at the time, who the very man, the seed of this man is, everyone else on the planet looked the same except for this mark that the Lord put on this person and his descendants in Cain. And he was not the only unaliver on the earth. You understand? The Lord put this mark. so that everyone could identify that these people are the I keep saying this. These people are the ones that take innocent lives. They shed blood on the earth. They start wars. They're known for taking and ending life. That's why everywhere you go, who is putting animals on the endangered species list? Who has made the Bengal tiger almost extinct, and the bald eagle, and the dodo bird, and all these tropical species, and the bison? Who hunted all the buffalo from the Plains Indians? Who, did committed genocide on the Native Americans? Who stole this land and did all of these things and is known for traveling across the world, starting wars everywhere? The French, the Spanish Armada, Napoleon Bonaparte, King Leopold of France, the conquistadors, the Jesuits, the Roman legion, the Greek legions. You understand? They're known for this. This is their culture. The mafia, this is their culture. Unalivers as a nation, this is what they are known for. You understand? Forget the Germans, Adolf Hitler, the Third Reich, the Nazi parties, the USSR, Joseph Stalin, all of these things. This is the mark, not just taking his skin. This is the mark that the Lord set on Cain. So let's get some more. He chased him into the caves. He put a mark on him so everyone could identify he's a murderer. He slayed his brother, and he was the man of sin. That's what we went over where we ended in Second Thessalonians last week. Who is the man of sin? That's what we went over. All right. That man of sin is who everyone thinks God is. That's why we went over the pictures. We showed all the images of Christ, all the images of disciples. Everyone thinks that they are so-called Caucasians because this person opposes God. We're going to touch on that real quick, and then we're going to get some more to see him reborn back into the earth again. All right? Just a second. So this is from the very beginning. This is what the Lord has been teaching us. Like there's no new thing under the sun. Nothing new is under the sun. The same spirits are back alive into the earth, and we're going to get to it. When that spirit was reborn back into the earth, we're going to go to. So now, one of the important things where we left off, for the Lord told him in Genesis, the 4th chapter, he's saying, Genesis 4:7, the Lord tells him, if you do well, then you would be accepted. The father rejected Cain, the Most High, as everyone calls the Most High, the Heavenly Father. The Most High rejected Cain because Cain disobeyed the Most High. So now what is happening, the Lord is telling him, if you do the right thing, you will be accepted. If not, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire. Whatever sin and evil and wickedness wants, thou shalt rule over him, meaning you are going to be the man of sin. All right, you're going to be the man of sin. So, like, let me take a look. Looks like something going on here. You're going to be the man. Let me just make sure. Man of sin here. Okay, most in Christ. I don't know why I was saying something going on with the broadcast. I don't know why it's saying that. Anyway, we're going to keep moving. The man of sin. So now The Lord has been revealing to us from the very beginning the origins of the man of sin. Very important thing to learn, because this is who everyone thinks God is. Everyone thinks God is the oppressor. All the images in the church, the Sistine Chapel, the Roman Catholic Church, the Last Supper, all of the images of the biblical figures and the 12 disciples, every one of them appears as a so-called Caucasian, a so-called European or Roman or an Italian, when in reality, that is not who the people of the Bible were. According to the Bible, so-called black people are God's chosen people. All the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today. So when you get to the New Testament, the same thing that's being taught in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and 3, the Lord is saying the man of sin is going to be revealed, who opposes the Most High and exalts himself as God. That's why everybody on the planet believes that the God of the Bible is a so-called white man. That's why they believe in his money. They believe his money is God. The God of the Christian church is the dollar bill. You understand? That's why all the Africans, big into Christianity, everyone believes that by serving the oppressor, his wealth and his money that he amassed through slavery and pillaging and crimes and robbery and, all kind of sexual assaults and criminals and human trafficking, that is how he obtained his wealth everywhere. That's how he built his empires, because the Lord blessed him with the sword. He's a man of the field. He'll slay his brother. He's also the man of sin. And this is what was being revealed to the same thing that the Lord was teaching from the book of Genesis. This is what's still being taught to the brothers and sisters in the New Testament. All right. So I just came out the audio, kicked me out. Came out the audio, kicked me out. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but everything else is Tawab. It's sounding Tawab. I'm looking clear. Everybody gave me one, so I'm not sure. So don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. So now, trouble connecting, check the internet. Yeah, I don't know why it's saying that. Everything else is Tawab. So now, when you go to Genesis, we finish from there. We're going to 2 Thessalonians. Now we're going to Genesis, the 25th chapter, because that Mark is going to be reborn back into the earth again. All right. So the Lord gave a promise to Abraham and to Sarah. This is why we learn he's also teaching them in schools in the New Testament. In Hebrews, the 11th chapter, which is where we started, they're teaching them about the life of Abraham, our forefather, teaching them about the lives of Cain and Abel and what happened in the Garden of Eden in the book of Genesis. Like, this is our heritage, not Wakanda, not the Black Panther and Africa and Kenya and Ghana and, Egypt and all of that. Like, this is our heritage that the brothers and sisters are learning. This is what your faith is based on. All right. So now we're going to go to Genesis, the 25th chapter. It says here, and Genesis chapter 25 and verse 21. Isaac and Rebekah are supposed to have children. Isaac and Rebekah, they are the parents of Jacob and Esau, two twins. Isaac entreated the Lord. He went to seek the Most High for his wife because she was barren, meaning she could not have children. Just like many sisters are told that they cannot have children as well. And of course, they come into the Isupk. The Lord gives these sisters one of these amazing priests, and the Lord blesses them, and many of them are on their second and third child to this day. You understand? So he went and he wanted to plead to the Most High because his wife was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. His wife was able to get pregnant to have children. During this pregnancy, this was a very rough pregnancy for the mother. It says, in the children, while she's pregnant with these babies, they struggle together within her. They're fighting. You understand? And she said, if it be so, like if this is the Lord's will that she have these babies, why am I thus? Why is she having such a rough pregnancy with these kids fighting each other? these infants, these embryos growing together in the womb, fighting each other. And she went to inquire of the Lord. This is another precept right here, to inquire of the Lord. That doesn't mean she closed her eyes real tight and she rocked back and forth, and then God magically said something to her. Inquire of the Lord is another precept. You got to know what this means. This is what it means to inquire of the Lord. All right, so put this in here. See that? Let's get inquire of the Lord. To find out what that means, we're going to go to first, hold where you are. Going to go to 1 Samuel chapter 9. Should be about verse 6 or 9. Should be 6 or 9. 9. Here we go. So when it says to inquire of the Most High, all right, this is what it means to inquire of the Lord. 1 Samuel 9 and 9. This is your precept for inquire of the Lord. It says, before time in Israel, before time, meaning before we were a nation. Right now, we're reading about the book of Genesis. Our nation has not been formed yet. The Lord gave a promise to Abraham. Abraham did his part. Now his sons turn to carry out the rest of the covenant that he made with his forefather. He's on his part right now. This is his mission. We still don't have a nation yet, but we are a people. It isn't just one or two people. We have people. You understand? We have family. Abraham came from a family. He wasn't dropped out of the sky like the Christian church teaches. Adam was not dropped out of the sky, and him and Eve were the only two people on the planet. That's what Christianity teaches. That's not biblical. You understand? So where it says, before time in Israel, when a man went to inquire of the Most High, thus he spake, come and let us go to the seer, for he that is now called a prophet was before time called a seer. You understand? Okay. I was a Tazayar. Signing for attendance next time, warrior. Shalom. Y'all about Shemel Shabrakatah. All right. Mosai in Christ. How does Jacob holding on to Esau's heel determine that we are going to be beefing? Well, the first thing is we're reading about the pregnancy right now. We've been beefing since we were inside of the same mother. You understand? We've been fighting ever since then. We've been fighting since before we came out of the womb. We were already fighting. And since the days of Cain and Abel, Cain slew Abel. That's what we were just reading about. You may have missed that part if you just now getting into the class, but he unalived Abel. And that's the spirit. That's what we're reading about, learning about right here. So it says that they went to go see the seer, or they went to go see the prophet to find out. And a man of the Lord is going to tell them why. Is going to tell her why she's having this difficult pregnancy, even though the Lord is the reason that she has these two babies inside of her. She needs to know what's going on, because they in there tearing her up, fighting, having a damn, So it went to go and inquire of the Lord to see what is happening. This is Genesis 25 and 22, verse 23. And the Most High said unto her, two nations, meaning two completely different races of people, are in thy womb, meaning we're not going to be the same. We come from the same mother, we come from the same father, but the Lord is going to separate and make us two different types of people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the same people. The oppressor is different from Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That is who is inside of her fighting. Two nations are in thy womb. You understand that? Amniotic sac inside of her, and we were fighting. Two manner of people, two different types of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Her bowels is what's inside of her. That's where the babies is growing, in the stomach, the fallopian tubes attached. You understand? The ovaries, everything in there, mucus plug, all of that. Inside of her are two different nations of people. You understand? From the very beginning of the Bible, the Lord never wanted different nations of people to be together. That's why in Genesis, the 10th chapter, the Lord separated everyone at the Tower of Babel, gave everybody different names, gave everybody different languages, and pushed them to different parts of the world. It said, two people shall be separated. This is why we're fighting. And the one people, which is us, the children of Jacob, or the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, shall be than the other people, which is our oppressor, the so-called Caucasian men. And the elder who's going to come out, which is Esau, shall serve the younger. Now, this is the prophecies. This is what the Lord said. All right. Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, it's time for her to give birth now. Behold, there were twins in her womb. She didn't know there were twins. She just pregnant. She didn't have no ultrasound and all of this. She didn't know. She just pregnant, and she want to know what the hell is going on inside of her. Salaki, the prophet told her two nations are fighting. She got twins. The baby's coming out of her womb. First baby comes out. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. You understand? And they called his name Esau or Ishaw, which means wasted away is he. Because when he comes out, he looks like he's wasted away. He looks like he's one that's already consumed because he doesn't look like everybody else, which is brown. This baby looks different. That's why it's going to describe to you how this baby looks. This is the mark that was born on, that was the Lord put on Cain from Genesis, the 4th chapter. This mark is born back into the earth again so that you can see that spirit is born back into the earth on this man, because reincarnation is in the Bible. So now, all right, it says the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Very rarely do you see a baby that comes out covered in hair. That's very abnormal. Of course, in the ISUPK, brothers and sisters have tons and tons of babies. You don't see a baby born that's covered in hair. You understand? Give all kind of indigestion to the mom having a baby with all that hair inside of her. Well, she had a terrible pregnancy. Not only is one of them covered up like a damn fur ball inside of her, then there's another one who's regular and they fighting like hell for 9 months, 10 months. You understand? This sister went through hell delivering these babies. And this is why this mark born on Cain is back in the earth with Esau. He's red and hairy like a hairy garment. 26, it says, after that came out his brother, and his hand took a hold on Esau's heel. That's what Jacob or Yaquab means, to supplant, to take the place of. His hand took a hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob or Yaquab. In our language, it's Yaquab. In English, it's Jacob. And Isaac was 60. A score is 20. 60 is 20 times 3, which is 60 years old when she bare them. 60 years old, they got newborn twins. Now, verse 27, this is important. This is the mark that the Lord put on Cain. That mark is born back again on Esau. These are precepts that you want so that you can understand the Bible. All right? Yahweh Shem Shabbat Thumb, Yahweh Shemal Thumb, Shem Yahweh Shai, red and hairy all over like a garment. Very important to know that, because Genesis tells you that the Lord put a mark on Cain. But you don't find out what the mark is unless you connect the precepts. You understand? The Lord put a mark on Cain. That mark that the Lord put on Cain so that everyone can recognize that this is the person who travels and unalives everywhere. You understand? This is a precept. For Genesis 4 and 15, that precept, the Lord, that Esau being born, red and hairy, 25 and 25. This is to give you even more about the spirit of these two boys, to show you that this is Cain being born back again. It says in verse 27, as the boys and the boys grew, Esau was a cunning hunter. That's why you see Esau out. He covered in deer piss. He hunting deers. He make a quack quack for Duck Dynasty. He make a duck whistle so he can shoot in the ducks. Birds are hard to catch. He makes a shotgun load called a bird shot so he can fire into a crowd of birds, kill it, unalive as many as he can. You want to catch a deer, he makes a load, a shotgun round called a buck shot. He wants to unalive an elephant. He has an elephant hunting round called a blunderbuss. Very old if you ever see that before. You understand? Like he pioneers in unaliving things. Bombs, rockets, missiles, poisons, everything. He travels and spreads diseases, plagues, everywhere you go. Famine, apartheid, genocide, wildfires, earthquakes, forest fires. Everywhere there's a problem, you'll find him first, and then everything suffers. Whether it's the fish in the ocean, the coral reef, the whales, you take all the shrimps and crabs out the water so the water gets dirty. He rips up all the filters so that nothing cleans the oceans. The Chesapeake goes from crystal clear blue to the dirty brown color that it is now. Same with the Potomac. He does this everywhere he goes. India, Australia, the coral reef, Asia, Hawaii, the Polynesian islands, everywhere he goes, he does this. What does it say about Esau? We know he's got a mark that he's unlike all the other babies that were born. That's why the Bible describes him. He's a hunter, a man of the field. Where did Cain slew Abel? Where were they? Let's see who's paying attention. Where did Cain unalive Abel at? Y'all type in real quick. Where did Cain unalive Abel? All right. What was Cain's job? Where did he unalive Abel? You understand? Where did he unalive Abel? Let's see. He also, where was he? In the field. There you go. In the field. All right. Young brother Stephen Baldwin, also Tazayah, Triple Call, Matazah, Yagada, exactly. In the field. These precepts are important. They're not written for no reason. He is in the field where he slew his brother because that's the spirit. They take you, drag you out in the swamp, in the marsh, hide your body in the cornfield. You understand? Like that's where they found Emmett Till, in the field. You understand? This is the spirit. Esau is a man of the field. Cain slew Abel in the field. These are precepts to describe to you that his spirit is back, but there are more. You understand? So let's get some more. He came out all over like a hairy garment, dwelling a cunning hunter. All right. So let's see. Now we're going to get some more. And now we're going to skip down some more. I'm going to read a little bit more in Genesis to 25 so you can get the spirit of the oppressor. All right. So now we in Genesis chapter 29. Genesis 25 and 29. And Jacob sawed pottage. Pottage is like a boiled stew. You got raw meat. It's not done. You understand? It's a stew. That's what pottage is. It's cooking it in a pot. You understand? And Esau came from the field and was faint. He was hungry. He was tired. He's in the field. He's probably out chasing God knows what, taking life out in the field. He's a hunter. That's why Esau is always known as a hunter. You see little, a 3-year-old black kid, he might be playing basketball, hooping, running, track and field on football. What's the 3-year-old oppressor doing? What is Dylan doing at 4 and 5 years old in Duggar? What's Dylan doing? What is Dylan doing? You understand? 4 and 5 years old. Okay. You understand? 4 and 5 years old. What is he doing? Little Dylan, little Duggar, what's he out there shooting? What's he out there doing? Tell you. Esau is a cunning hunter. Target practice. There you go. This is the spirit of Esau. This is the spirit. And the Lord wants you to learn this. It's not based on how you feel. It's not on what you think. This is the spirit of Esau. This was always the spirit. You see this here? This is what Esau is doing. This is what Esau is doing here. This right here, just like this. See the kids? That's what they doing. They not learning how to dance and electric slide and boogie. And they might be playing a little football here and there, but this is what they doing. They in there with the 38 specials, the revolvers, the 22s, the 38s, the 380s, the double barrels, the sawed-off. This is what they doing. Because Esau is a cunning hunter and the man of the field. This is what Esau is known for. They're known for this. And this is the spirit. That's right. Chasing wild animals, hunting squirrels, hunting bobcats, shooting down birds with BB guns, everything. You understand? Like that's the spirit of Esau. He's a hunter. The Lord gave him that spirit to be a hunter because the Lord is not going to help him for the crimes that his forefather did. Now, Esau didn't do anything, but Cain did. And Cain, his spirit is reborn back into the earth again. So now we're going to get it again. Cain is talking. He's hungry. He comes from the field. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with some of that red pottage, for I am faint. Why does this say red pottage? This is very spiritual. You understand? Red pottage. You understand? That red pottage. Why is it saying that? Who eats red pottage? Who eats their food that's red? You understand? Black man, you get something. You want it. You understand? We like our food cooked a certain way. All right. Esau get his food. He want to taste the blood in the food. You understand? This how our steak. You understand? This what he want. His meat is not cooked. It ain't cooked and it's not seasoned. This is the spirit of our oppressor. And the Lord has these things put in the Bible so that you can learn that. It says red pottage. You understand? This how Esau like to get down. This is food. He don't want it all the way done. This is what he wants. He want it to look like this here. You understand? He want it to look like this here. He want it still so you can see the blood in it. You still see the blood in there. Like to us, this ain't done. We're going to put this back on the grill. Flip that over. You understand? We don't want to be drinking and sopping up blood. But to Esau, that's his spirit. You understand? That's the spirit of our oppressor. And this is the spirit that was on Cain. The spirit that's on Esau, who is Cain in the reincarnation. This is what you learned. So he says here, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with some of that red pottage, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name was called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright, because Jacob means to supplant, to run game on the hustle. He said, sell me your birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am to the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? He didn't care about his birthright. He wasn't concerned about his heritage or his birthright. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him and sold his birthright unto Jacob. This is another spirit of Cain. Remember, when we were in Genesis, the 4th chapter, it was time to bring an offering to the Most High. This was his birthright. You understand? As Adam's children, this was their birthright. To know to bring an offering to the Most High, to be Adam's sons, this knowledge that was not given to the rest of the world, it was their birthright to have this knowledge because Adam was their father. All right. So now they're saying, sell me your birthright, because he didn't care about his birthright, just like he didn't care. That's why the Lord requires sheep. And he bought him, food of the ground, the fruit of the ground, because he was not concerned about his birthright. Hey, shalom. All right. Most High in Christ, shalom, Newport News. All right. Got you down for attendance. All right, sis. He wasn't concerned about his birthright. So he sold his birthright to his brother because he wasn't concerned about his birthright. So now we're going to get some more. We're going to get some more because this is the spirit of Cain. This is the spirit of Cain being born again. All right. The time of mourning for my father are at hand. Let's get there. I think it's 27. All right. So now we're going to get some more. Now remember what the Most High told to Cain in the Garden of Eden in Genesis. All right. So now what we have going on in Genesis chapter 27. This is the story of Cain and Abel. And this is Esau wanted right now. Just a carnal man. Like he doesn't have the spirit to wait. It's not that he needs it. He just wants it. Just like a child. You understand? He wants it. He's not concerned with the damage it's going to cause. Like, well, if you take all the oil, the earth's natural lubrication, you're going to destroy the earth. I don't care. I want it. Well, you can't build a house right there. This is on the coast. You shouldn't live there. It's dangerous. This is a mountain. This is on the side of a cliff. People aren't supposed to live here. I don't care. I want to live there. Well, you're 100 feet up in the sky. It's not good to be up here. People don't belong up here. He's a caveman. He comes from the caves. He's not concerned. He don't know what's best for the earth. He's from the caves. He's destroying the earth. He dumped toxic waste into the earth, into the water, cut down the trees in the forest that people need to breathe, that animals need to live. You take animals from their natural habitat and put them in a zoo, put them in a cage, put them in a big fish tank and open up SeaWorld. You understand? He doesn't have the spirit to know to do what's right and wrong. You don't have that spirit. And as much as the Christian church teaches you to pray for them, as much as the Christian church teaches you to try to love them and just hope it get better, and not all of them, all snakes aren't venomous. Do you know? Do your kids know? Does your wife know? Are you willing to risk their life to find out? That's not a wise thing to do. And the Lord has been trying to teach us the dangers of our oppressor since the book of Genesis, that the Christian church is steadily telling racism is over. I can't believe there's still racism in 2023. I can't believe that. You understand? Like, this is the spirit that the Lord wants our people to have. This is the faith that's in the Bible that the Christian church doesn't teach our people about. So now we go to Genesis, the 27th chapter, in verse 1. And it come to pass that when Isaac was old, Isaac is the father of Jacob and Esau. He didn't have the kids until he was 60 years old. So now, of course, they older, they growing up. He might be 80 years old or something now. He old, and his eyes were dim. His sight ain't all that great like it was when he was younger, so that he cannot see. His sight is terrible. He can't see. And he called Esau his eldest son. His oldest boy is Esau, and said unto him, my son. He said, come here, son. And he said unto him, behold, here I am. And he said, behold, now I'm old. I know not the day of my death. He said, I'm old. I'm finna die. I ain't going to be here forever, boy. I'm about to die soon. I don't know when, but it's coming because I'm old as hell. Now, come on in here. We got some stuff to talk about. He's not a Christian. This is another spiritual thing that can be overlooked. In Christianity, death is a mystery. It's something magical. Life insurance, health insurance, death insurance. These are magical concepts that, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And, Jesus will take the wheel. Just put our faith in God. That's not in the Bible. He's preparing his son, saying, listen, son, I'm older now, and I might not have too much more time. Let's start to get my affairs in order now. That is the opposite of how blacks and Hispanics carry themselves because of Christianity. Nobody's doing that. Grandmama died, cousin died, mama died, some tragedy, something happened. Nobody has health insurance. Nobody got life insurance. Nobody know anything about anything. Everybody scrambling to get some money together. We need another $1,500 for the burial, another this for the closing. All this is going on. Who gonna get the house? Who getting this? Like, That's not our custom, because we've been in slavery under Christianity so long. We just believe things will magically work out. You understand? That's not our custom. He's calling his son to prepare his son, like, listen, I'm going to be gone soon. As the eldest son, there are responsibilities that you are getting ready to have once I am gone. That's why he's calling his son. This is because this is how he's supposed to raise his sons. It's a great responsibility raising a son. You understand? So now he's telling him. So Genesis 27:2. And he said, behold, now I'm old. I know not the day of my death. He said, I don't know. You understand? He's saying, bring me that food that I love. My son is a hunter. Go and get me the food that he loved. Bring me some venison. I'm just skipping through these because all of these are talking about the same thing. You understand? He's talking to Esau. He's saying, make me this my favorite dish before my my spirit leaves me and I pass away. Verse 4, he says, and make me savory meat such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I lie. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to Esau, his son. Remember, Esau is red and hairy all over like a hairy garment. And Esau went into the field to hunt for venison. Venison is deer meat. And to bring it, he went to go hunt to get some deer to make some, his favorite dish that dad liked. You understand? So now, all right, want to keep that in mind. Let me see. I want to keep that in mind. Let me see. Let me get this. Harry. Just a moment. Just a minute. All right, look like we're not gonna get that. All right, don't sweat it. Salaki, that's so heavy. We forsake, yes, because of Christianity. Everybody think grandma gonna live forever. Granddaddy, like, goddamn, granddaddy is 81 years old. How long you want him to live? Everybody wants nobody wants granddaddy to die. Nobody wants him to be gone. But the realities about life and death is a magical Disney movie fairy tale thing that is a part of our culture as Israelites. But as Christians, no, I don't want to talk about it. No, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That's what Christianity teaches our people. You understand? That's not Israelite customs. You die a couple of generations later, we know we come back. You understand? That's why it's so important what you do while you're alive, because you will either set a pattern to curse the next generation. So by the time you get back, everything will be destroyed and you'll be raised in the mess that you left when you last were alive. It's completely opposite of what the Christian church teaches our people. You understand? Once your life is over, you'll be born back again a couple of generations later. You will live a brand new life with new body, with new parents, with the same spirit. And this is exactly what we're learning about with Esau, who is Cain in the reincarnation. So now he's in the field. Rebekah hears what Jacob tells his son. He hears what Isaac tells Esau, and now she's waiting. Rebekah means to supplant, to trick, to run game on as well. He said, bring me venison and savory meat that I may eat. She tells the son, Jacob, therefore, my son, obey my voice to do that which I command thee. Verse 9, go down to the flock and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats. A kid is a baby goat. And I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. I'm going to make him some curry goat. I'm going to make him some goat dishes. Go get me 2 little goats. I'm going to kill them and cook it up. My son Esau is out in the field. He out sliding on deer. I'm going to get him some goat. By the time Esau get back, he be the missed out. Verse 10, and thou shalt bring it to thy father that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. Verse 11, Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man. Esau hairy all over, looking like a goat, but my skin is very smooth. Dad gonna know that ain't me. He can't see. He gonna have to touch me. He gonna know. So she come up with a plan. Mind you, this is already what the Lord wanted from the very beginning. This is already what the prophecies have said. This is how it played out. He said, verse 12, my father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. Verse 13, and the mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. She knew something was wrong with that other son, and she knew he wasn't the child of the promise. You understand? She went to go find out why she had that rough pregnancy, and the prophet told her what the Lord's plan was. She knew. They didn't know, but she knew. You understand? That's what we read in Genesis chapter 25 and verse 23, when she was pregnant and the two babies were inside of her fighting. She didn't know what was going on. So now he went, he got the goats, mother slaughtered them, went and cooked them, grilled them up nice, however he wanted them, fed them, took them, and now he's going to put a hairy garment on Jacob. Verse 16, it says, she put the skin of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck, the back of his neck, which is the smooth part, and on his hands. She took the fur from the goats that she just slaughtered and killed, and she gave savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. Now he gonna trick his father, but this was the Lord's will from the beginning. Verse 18, and it came to pass unto his father, Salakia, and he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who art thou, my son? He old. He can barely see. Who is that? Who is that, boy? What you calling me? I'm in here, boy. Where you at? Where you at? Who's that? That's you? Richie, that's you? Jimmy? Nate? Is it Nate? Who is it? Who is that? Richie, that's you? All right, bring me that food, boy. He old. He black. He can't see. He hungry. Get in here. Get in here. Hurry up. I'm hungry. So, verse 19, and Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, and thy soul, it's like it, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? Because remember, if you go out to catch deer, catching deer ain't like catching cow. If a deer is anywhere near you and you step on a twig, that deer gone. That deer running 15, 20 miles an hour and he leaping. You're not going to catch that deer. That deer gone. You blew it. So he got to go and stalk and hunt a deer. That's why Esau covered himself in deer pits and put deer pits on the tree to pretend like he's a female deer. So when the male deer comes sniffing for some tail, that's when he, in the bushes, open fire on him and take his life. You understand? So Esau is out hunting. He's like, how did you get back so quick? You understand? But he old. You understand? So he don't think nothing of it. He just ready to eat. And he says, because the Lord thy power, the Most High thy power brought it to me. And that was it. The Lord brought him that goats and stuff. And Isaac said unto Jacob, but he think he talking to Esau, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. He knew his youngest boy. He didn't trust him. He knew it. So he said, come here. Let me touch you. Let me make sure. In the mind, he can't see. He said, let me touch you to make sure this is Esau. His mother knew he would do that. He knew he would do that. So him and mom came up with the plan. They put the goat fur on him. You understand? On his neck, on his hand. So when dad touches him, they're gonna feel the fur. He be like, okay, this is my son Esau. He hairy as hell. You understand? And verse 22, it says, Jacob went near unto Esau his father and felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice. He hearing his boy, he noticed Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were very hairy, and his brother's hands Esau. So he blessed him. And he said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, come now and kiss me, my son. You understand? Kiss me. Now, for those of you that need to know, a kiss is not what the Christian church teaches you to put their lips on you. That's not what a kiss is in the Bible. You understand? When they say Judas betrayed Christ with a kiss, that's not what a kiss is in the Bible. We're going to get the Bible dictionary. They got it in here to show you. That is another word that you need to learn. You understand? It is not Israelite customs. We did not put our lips on everybody. That you see the mafia do that. You go to church, you got little old ladies leaving lipstick all over your face, kissing you everywhere. That's not Israelite custom. That is our oppressor's custom, trying to interpret a book written by blacks and Hispanics who our entire communication is slang. He picking up a black book, a Mexican and Puerto Rican book. He see the snake said this, and the donkey said this, and the cat said that. He like, oh, it must be a talking snake. This must have been a boa constrictor. But he don't think spiritually the way that we do. If I call you a snake, I'm not calling you a boa constrictor or a rattlesnake. I'm saying your character is terrible and no one should trust you. And, everyone should watch you because you have poor character and, you're probably going to do something foul. But when the oppressor reads the word snake in the book of Genesis, he make the whole world believe it's a talking rattlesnake in the Garden of Eden because he's not spiritual and the book is not written to him, by him, or for him. All right, so let's get that kiss. What time we at? 26? Okay, we're doing good. Kiss. Let's get kiss in the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. Bear with me just a moment. Okay. LMNOP. QRKIR. Shoot the next page. Kishon, KISH. Kishon, the Brooks of Kishon. Kiss. All right, so we got kiss in the holding. All right, so this is the kiss. Kiss is a common greeting amongst relatives. Kiss had a more formal character in connection with a blessing or the anointing of a king. You understand? This is not talking about putting your lips on someone. You understand? Once Jesus' host did not give him this customary greeting, you understand? Like a greeting. That's why when you read, the kiss was adopted as a formal greeting amongst believers, a holy kiss. You understand? The word holy means separate. Kiss is talking about a formal greeting or a blessing. The kiss that we give each other is Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah. That is a formal greeting or a blessing. It's a prayer. We greet the sisters, Yahweh Shemar Alathan by Shem Yahushua. That is a holy kiss or a, you understand? Let me get a couple of those. Like that's what it means in the Bible is talking greet one another with a kiss. It's not talking about putting your lips on each other. That's what the Christian church teaches because they are not spiritual. They read the Bible as an oppressor and not as a black man. But because we've been in Christianity forever, we've learned hair customs. All right. So kiss, let's get some precept. It says, thou gavest me no kiss. You understand? No kiss. These are the scriptures right here. Greet one another with a holy kiss. Put some of these precepts up here so y'all can get it. Greet one another with a holy kiss. It's important to salute. Always salute brothers and sisters in the school. Every man shall, you understand? Greet one another with a kiss. First Thessalonians, Second Corinthians. This was our kiss or our greeting. This was always our custom. And I'm going to show you what the kiss or the greeting was in the Bible. It was our custom to always greet one another, to greet one another. When you read the letters, he talks about salute, 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 greet, greet, salute, salute, greet, salute. You understand? There's another precept, Romans chapter 16 and verse 16, because not only are we a school and a body, but our nation has always been militant. It's a very militant, warrior-like nation. The sisters have a salute, that they salute the brothers have a salute, and we salute the sisters. It says, greet ye one another with a kiss. You understand? Here we go again. I shall kiss the same as he. Greet ye one another. The kiss is talking about a greeting. These are some of the precepts. You can write that down. And now this is what it is. Smote the breast. This is our kiss. This has always been our custom in the Bible. You understand what it talks about? Smote the breast. All right. Still smote the breast. He saluted him. This is an example here when it talks about in Luke chapter 18 and verse 13. It says, and the publican standing afar off would not lift up so much as his eyes into heaven, but smote upon the breast, saying, the Most High be merciful to me, a sinner. That has always been our custom. Salute. That's why you see it all throughout the New Testament. Salute, smite the breast, smote the breast, salute, salute. Greet one another with a holy kiss. The word holy means separate. Kiss means a greeting. So that's what it's talking about there. All right. And more on that. Okay, so let's get back to that, just so that y'all can see what it's talking about. He's saying, come here, my son, and kissed him and smelled of his raiment and blessed him. He smelled him because he knew that Esau was going to smell like a wild animal because he's always in the field hunting. Unalive deer and bucks and whatever he catch, he's going to carry it. He's going to smell like the field. Esau is known for not smelling good. He's known for having a wooded smell, to smell like an animal, smell like PetSmart. Just watch some video of one of the brothers where Esau is on TikTok talking about that until she went to the military and sisters who were in Esau's armies taught her that she had to take a soap and washcloth to wash between her legs and the crack of her behind, because her mother and aunts and grandmothers never taught her that she had to take a cloth and scrub herself to get clean. She was just taught she just shampoo her hair and the water just dripped down everywhere, and that meant you were clean. You understand? Like, that's spiritual, because our oppressors didn't know how to bathe. We had to teach them to bathe. That's how he knew this son was going to smell like sheep. But if he didn't wear that, Jacob would not have smelt like sheep. You understand? We have a different spirit about us. You understand? That's why we got 1,000 pairs of clothes, 1,000 pairs of socks and drawers and shoes. And Esau is, wearing the same thing 20, 30, 40 times. Might not change at all. Might not wash until 2-3 days later. That's why they come up with Axe body spray and all of this to mask the smell of them being dirty. Of course, after years and years of us training and being in captivity under them, we washing and taking care of them. They take on our customs, and before you know it, we completely change how their whole life functions, because we are the children of God. So all that's just a sidebar. Esau is blessing. Jacob bless his son. We're back in Genesis chapter 27, verse 27. It says, and he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him and said, see the smell of my son, as it is the smell of a field which the Most High have blessed. Therefore the Most High give thee the dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, plenty of corn and wine. Verse 29, let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be everyone that blesseth thee. This was something he had the right to give his son as an inheritance, because this is what the Lord gave to Abraham. And he passed it to Isaac. Isaac is now passing this to his son, Jacob, who he thinks is Esau. Now we're going back to verse 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce, gone out from the presence of Esau, of Isaac his father. Jacob gone, he took off. That Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he cooking the food and everything and all of that, preparing it just like the father said. And now, verse 33, it says, Isaac trembled very exceedingly. He's shaking now and said, who? Where is he that have taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten all before thou camest and blessed him. Yea, he shall be blessed. He already blessed one brother. And Esau heard the words of his father and cried with a great exceeding bitter cry. Oh no, he was sad and said unto the father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. Now, and he said, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he have supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright. And behold, now he have taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not received reserved a blessing for me? And now Esau is hot. Esau upset. And yet again, just like in Genesis, the 4th chapter with Cain, the father rejected him. This was the Lord's will, because Cain did evil in his life. Cain's life was over. And then Cain's life was over. Now Cain was moved. Now that his life is over, he's born back into the earth again. He's now Esau. Esau is now born back into the earth, but the Lord don't want him to get the blessing. The Lord wants the blessing to go to Jacob. And now Jacob is getting it because Cain is not going to get a blessing. Esau is not getting the blessing. So now here we go again. Back down to verse 41. And it says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. He hated his brother, just like in the Garden of Eden in Genesis chapter 4. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. We're going to mourn. Dad passed away, we said, understand. And now, then will I slay my brother. This is exactly what Esau did. This is what Cain did. He rose up against him in the field because he was a man of the field. He slew his brother. Esau is born back into the earth. He's a man of the field. He's got the mark that the Lord put on Cain. He's born with this mark because he is Cain in the reincarnation. Cain slew Abel, his brother. Esau is going to slay Jacob, his brother. The father accepted Jacob, did not accept Esau. He blessed Jacob, didn't bless Esau. The father blessed Abel, did not bless Cain. This is Esau in the reincarnation. These are the precepts that you need to understand these things. All right. So this is what's going on. And he has been evil to his brother since these days. All right. So now this is what happened. So Esau is out to get him. And he's telling him, and he says, these are the words, verse 42. And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called for Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, as concerning you, doth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. He's going to unalive you. 43. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise. Flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, to go to your brother's crib, and tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away. Go stay there until your brother is not angry anymore, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? He's saying, why should I lose my husband and lose my son on the same day? You understand? So this is what he's talking about. And Rebekah said unto Isaac, and Rebekah said, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of these daughters, such as these are the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? These women must not have been worth a damn. He didn't want either what. She did not want her son to get one of them. He said, go back to the land of my family, go there, take a wife of that land, our family's land, my people, not these women around here. Don't take a wife from them. They ain't no good. She did not like them. Get out of here. Your brother's going to unalive you when he see you. So this is what happened. That's the story of Jacob and Esau, Cain slaying Abel, being reborn again in the reincarnation. He came back again. This is what the brothers and sisters in the school in Hebrews, the 11th chapter, were being taught. Because remember, we could not learn our history, just like you brothers and sisters who've been raised Christians and Muslims and Rastas and Buddhists and Democrats and Republicans and everything else. Your forefathers, your communities and schools and education was not learning the history of who your people, our people are. You've been learning the history of, Arabs and Africans and Asians and everybody else's history, but you were never allowed to learn your history. These brothers and sisters in the New Testament were forbidden from keeping their customs as Israelites or learning their histories either. That's why they had to come into the truth and be taught our heritage and be born again. You understand? So this is what's happening. All right. So that's what's happening here. And this is what's recorded. So now we got all of this. All right. So we're going to go back now to Hebrews, the 11th chapter. So we got Hebrews, the 11th chapter, and we just finished now, verse 4. We got Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 4. Now we're going to start Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 5. Before we do that, I just wanted to get a couple of things there. To show that Esau has not stopped hunting his brother. Like this happened thousands of years ago, but Esau has not stopped hunting us. He said, I will slay my brother. All right. Esau is the forefather of the so-called Caucasians, now known today as the so-called Europeans. Like he has never stopped hunting us. His bloodlust has never been fulfilled. He's still hunting us to this day at traffic stops on the borders in Haiti. He hunted the Gadites, the Native Americans, hunted Isupk, the Mexicans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Tainos, the Arawaks. He has been hunting us for thousands of years. And this is what the Lord said about him in Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. And this is a river that flows through the Bible. Like more reasons why the Lord does not want us to join the other nations. He says, because Ezekiel 35 and 5. He said, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, a never-ending hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel, which are the children of Jacob, by the force of the sword. In the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity has an end. He's always been an unaliver. Since the days of Cain and Abel, since the days of Jacob and Esau, his descendants have always hunted to unalive our people. And this is a very spiritual lesson that you must learn as an Israelite. They've been hunting our people. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Most High, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate. He's going to make Esau, our oppressor, desolate, and cut off from it that passeth out, and him that returneth. He's going to cut the land out. That's why no land belongs to them. The same punishment that the Lord put on Cain in the Garden of Eden in the book of Genesis, the Lord put the punishment on Esau again because he continued to despise his brother, to hunt us and unalive us, as he's doing to this very day in 2023. This is why they're harassing us at traffic stops. This is why only West Indians and Haitians and Latinos are the ones that are the problem people as far as immigration is concerned, when they're the ones, you understand, are contributing the most to the economy, building the cities, working in the fields. No other immigrant in America is here only to work. They get our Hispanic brothers a job, giving them work visas. The Africans are not here on a work visa. The Arabs are not here on a work visa. The East Indians aren't here on a work visa. The only way you in the country is so you can come in here and slave. And if you're not being a slave, we're going to send you back home. No other nation of people is treated like that. And the Chinese are the number one illegal immigrant, next to the so-called East Indians. But you never hear any news stories or rhetoric talking about them in this light, because the agenda is to criminalize these 12 tribes. It's to criminalize so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's the agenda. You understand? That's the agenda, to criminalize the Lord's chosen people, because they want to use that as an excuse for how they're going to mistreat us and exploit our people, rob us blind, which is how they got their empire. So the Lord said he is going to pursue them. The entire salvation that the Bible is talking about, the majority, the major concept of getting the biblical salvation is our oppressors going into chains and the Lord unaliving them for the crimes that they've done against us. That's what the salvation is about. The whole believing in Christ and coming into the truth in the New Testament, it's about the Lord saving the children of Israel from our oppressors that will gun us down at traffic stops, that'll put poisonous lead paint and lead pipes in the water, that will spray poisonous chemicals in the air that disproportionately affects the areas where we live versus where their people live, that'll set up checkpoints so that they can give all the poor black people that can only work on this side of town, which is where the rich oppressors live, that as soon as you drive off the bridge from the black side of town, they just pull you over and give you a ticket and use all your ticket money to fund and take care of their city and county. Or they privatize a prison so that all of the funding from the prison, from the state and the federal government, goes to make sure that they have lovely, wonderful suburbs and their roads and cities are taken care of. Or they able to steal our music, own all the copyrights and the airwaves to all the music, and they get billions, and we get $1 or $2 million here and there, and then be broke, and they get paid forever. Like, this has always been the spirit of our oppressor. At every level, we are being hunted and targeted. That's just Esau. That's our chief oppressor. That's why the Lord said in Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 8, he says, I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and thy hills and thy valleys and all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. Like, this is what the Lord is saying, because of the crimes that they have done against the children of Israel. All right. So let's get some more on that, because this is one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn about the Bible, is that the oppressor is not Jesus Christ. He's not God. Being closer to our oppressors does not make you more like God. The closer you are to our oppressors, the closer you are to serving the devil that the Bible speaks of, because the oppressor is the devil. It said, for thy Salakia, Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 10, he says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. You understand? They're supposed to be covered in shame for beating Emmett Till and throwing his body in the river, for putting George Stinney in the electric chair at 14 years old, unaliving Tamir Rice at 11 years old at a playground. They just show up and open fire. They don't know what's going on. For stalking and unaliving Trayvon Martin, for putting your knee on George Floyd's throat for 10 minutes. You understand? For firing and unaliving Tatiana Jefferson through her house, for unaliving Breonna Taylor. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. Sitting Bull ran in the face the Shawnee, the Arapaho, the Sioux, the Cherokee, the Creek, the Muskegee, the Seminole, the Aztecs, the Mayans. You understand, the Mapuche, the Ladinos, the Arawaks, the Tainos, the Caribs. They've done this by the hundreds of millions to our people and never had to pay for it. Salvation is to make them all pay for it. They're not going to be included in salvation. This is their punishment and our salvation. That's how it works. You understand? So the Lord said they shall be covered in shame, not forgiveness, not us hugging them so they feel better about it. They're supposed to be covered in shame for the horrible atrocities that their people have done and are still doing to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. So let's just get some more. We're going to pick up back at Hebrews, the 11th chapter, because there's some more things. Next week, we'll probably finish the rest of Hebrews 11 and get to the next one. But this is important here about Esau in Isaiah chapter 1. Isaiah chapter 14, so like in verse 1. Like this is what the faith and the salvation that everyone is hoping for in the New Testament. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers, the non-Israelites, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave or hold on to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them, shall own them in the land of the Lord, for servants and handmaids. They're going to be possessed, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. This is what the salvation is for. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Most High shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, being sad, paying these bills, working these jobs, being separated from your families, all these taxes and this oppression and immigration customs enforcements and detention centers and all of these sorrows that our oppressor has put on us, not knowing our identity and our language, being taken out of our land, separating our tribes. The Lord is going to give us rest from this sorrow and from our fear of traffic stops, getting unalived at the Chuck E. Cheese or the Walmart or the grocery store in Buffalo or the damn Jacksonville Family Dollar. You understand? Or church, or having bombs dropped on you, having your black town burned up like Rosewood or Tulsa, Oklahoma, or have bombs dropped on you by the police department in Philadelphia. Like our fear, we won't have it anymore. AIDS, cancer, death, getting unalived as a teenager, shot up at a party. We won't have that because that won't be our life, because the Lord will be with us once our oppressors are in captivity and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Like this is what he's talking about. When the Lord is going to destroy them. The entire faith of the Bible is about destroying our oppressive society. That's the whole thing. Not, harming them or tearing down buildings or pushing over trees and statues. That's what emotional Christians, brothers and sisters, do in the world. That's what the oppressor wants to do, so that they don't have to face the reality that they have to pay for the crimes that their forefathers committed and that they still benefit from to this day. You understand? The Lord says in that day in verse 4 that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. The king of Babylon is president. He's the king. America is Babylon. That's why you have all races, all nations of people coming together in one place. That's against God. God has been against that since the beginning of the Bible. And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? And the golden city, the Capitol Hill, Washington, the Big Apple, is finally ceased. So there's no one to make policies and pass laws to take your children away, to tell your grandbabies and your daughters and your aunts and your mothers to abort their children, to tell your woman she could leave her man and destroy the family because she's unhappy and she's unfulfilled and she wants to go find out what's out there. But there's no one that's going to be able to tell her that because they won't be alive anymore. Their lives will be over. And the ones that are still alive are going to be in the fields cutting sugar cane and picking cotton. You understand? That's what they're going to do. And they will cease from being in power. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked, the strength of them, their economy, their military, their ability to unalive everybody, their police force, their judicial and legislative. The Lord have broken them. The staff of their power and the scepter, their power of authority of the rulers. They won't control the world's economy because Christ is coming with 200 million black angels, UFOs, straight out of heaven, so that they can destroy all the governments of the world and establish a new government. And once they do that, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, they continually beat us. They beat us. They beat us out of our homeland. They tore up our capital city. They chased us into Africa. They beat us there. They had the Arabs jumping us, the East Indians jumping us. They beat us. They sold us into slavery. They hung us from trees. They burned down our cities. They burned us alive in our homes. Then we slaved. We built up their economy. We fought in their wars. They still beating us. They do experiments on us. They still beating us. We get free. We start over. They beating us in their cities. They beating up our cities. They burn our cities to the ground. They destroy our families. Then we march. We create black things. They destroy the black things. They make government agencies to infiltrate them to destroy them. You understand? Then later on, what happens? They flood our communities with crack cocaine and heroin. They set up drug cartels. All these gangs spur up. They destroy the family. They take the man out. They wipe out our economy. Like they continuously just beating and beating and beating us down into powder. And that's the state that our people are in now. You understand? That's why it's so important to come into this truth so that the Spirit of the Lord can make our people alive again. The Bible said he smote us with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. No one is stopping him from being persecuted. While they see him picking cotton and cutting sugar cane and cleaning out the horse stables, covered in filth and barely eating, covered in fur, no more Gillette razors, no more shaving. You're going to think it's a German shepherd in the field picking cotton. Because without chic and Gillette razors, that's exactly how our oppressors would look. You think they look how they look now because they're getting all this laser treatment and waxing this and waxing that and skin this and that. But they would literally look like German shepherds if you did not shave that fur off of them all the time. That's why the razor and the shaving and the waxing industry is such a big thing. You understand? So now in verse 7, it says the whole earth is at rest. Everything and is quiet. There won't be war. They won't be warring because nobody will be around to steal their land. Because the people that travel and steal land, they're in cages. They're in chains. They've been subdued. They aren't free to go and steal land and set up child brothels in the Philippines and Indonesia and India, which is what the British did. Children won't be prostituting because the people that set up child brothels will be in chains. They won't be free to travel and institute skin color based caste systems so that if you're dark skinned, you get treated like garbage. Or if you're light skinned, they're going to eat you because albinos have magical powers. Or if you team light skin, team dark skin, none of that will exist anymore. It won't exist because the people that exploit you and sell you and instigate a fight between two family members because one's light skinned and one's dark skinned, those people will be in chains. They'll work in cotton fields 23 hours a day, in sugarcane fields, and they'll farm rice and wheat and bread and grass until they are out of breath. Until they're out of breath. And then once their breath leaves their body, they'll be born back again and they'll start over as babies. The same way our little kids pick cotton, they got Hispanic babies in the field, 9, 10 years old right now, picking onions and lettuce and vegetables, everything in your grocery store. Our Latino brothers and sisters are in the field from Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico, and Honduras, and Venezuela, and Colombia. They in the field right now picking all the fruits and vegetables damn near that's in your grocery store. You understand? That's why you pay $3 instead of $10. Because if the oppressor had to pick it, it would be $10. You pay $3 because Isupk picked it for you. And they'll pay Isupk a quarter for 100 pounds of strawberries so you can buy it for $3. You understand? And they are going to pay for that. They're going to pay. The Lord is not going to forgive them for that. They're all going to pay together because they benefited together. And the whole earth will be quiet. The animals will be happy. The bear won't live in the city because the bear will actually have woods to live in because there'll be no one tearing down the woods anymore. The deer will be able to live in the woods because no one will tear down all the woods. The monkeys and the gorillas, they'll all be able to live where they're supposed to be because they won't have to worry about deforestation. The coral reef will be able to grow back because there are no more oppressors cutting the coral reef out to put into a fish tank to sell it to you. There won't be all this calcification because his factories will stop. There won't be PVC plastic factory runoff waters because it's destroying the ozone layer and poisoning the land. All that's going to stop because they're all gone. Your kids won't be at school 15 hours a day and you sitting in 3 hours of traffic night and day separated from your kids. Once your kids learn how to walk and talk and take themselves to the bathroom, the school raises your kids. The strongest kid in the classroom is who is going to raise your kids. Whoever's the loudest, who's got the biggest voice, who's got the most size, who can get the most attention, that's who's going to dictate what's right and wrong amongst those kids. If they don't come into the truth, you're going to be fighting your influence as a parent versus the greater influence that society is going to have because the majority of the time your kids will be at school with strangers. And that's who's going to raise them. That's who's going to teach them what's right and wrong. That's who's going to teach them how to act, how to behave. That's who's going to teach them about sex and death and life and right or wrong and gender identities. Absolute strangers, other kids. That's who's going to teach them. Well, that's going to end because the people who institute that, they'll all be in chains. And then the earth will rest. All the dolphins will get out of SeaWorld. They'll be back in the ocean. All the whales will get out of SeaWorld. They'll be in the ocean. All the sharks will live where sharks are supposed to live. All the birds will go back to their natural place. They won't be in the zoo. You understand? Everything will be right in its proper order. Everything will be able to live life the proper way. You understand? And the earth will be at rest. The trees will be able to sing. They're not getting cut down for no reason. And now everyone is going to say this in verse 9. Hell from beneath. Salaki, let me read verse 8. He said, yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, all the nations will rejoice, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Since there are no more oppressors, no one is burning and blowing up all the trees. We can finally rest. He says, hell from beneath, the grave and suffering, poverty and the struggle. That's what hell is talking about, is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. They waiting on you. All your Hollywood stars and your big wigs and your rich, your Warren Buffetts, your Trumps, your Bushes, your Clintons. Hell is waiting. It's waiting. Come in. Get you a shovel. You're going to dig. You're going to plant trees. You're going to work in the field. Mexicans need onions. They need cilantro and beans. That's what you're going to do forever. Make sure that all the food that the Mexicans need, that the Puerto Ricans and Haitians need, you are going to work a field forever so that they can eat comfortably. And it'll be wonderful. This is the kingdom of heaven that it's talking about right there. All right. It said the grave is moved to meet you. Hell stirreth up, stir from beneath, is moved to thee, for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, and they all shall speak and say, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Why? Because our oppressor has had power for so long. He's had power. He's dictated everything. He decides what your country can and can't do. If you don't accept homosexuality, they'll starve your people to death. If you don't accept an alternative lifestyle, they'll starve you. If you don't accept democracy, they'll overthrow your country, like Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi. They'll force you to step down as being a leader over your own people, like King Assad in Assyria and Ahmadinejad in Iran. They will force you to bow down and bend over backwards, or they'll starve you, like Cuba, like Hugo Chavez, like Venezuela. They'll oppress and crush you until you and your people suffer so much that you'll flee and they'll take over your land. Well, that won't happen anymore. Christ is going to come and make sure that they no longer have any power on the earth. You understand? Verse 12, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, from your position of power and glory and authority? That's what heaven is talking about. O Lucifer, son of the morning. Meaning when you see them, you think they're shining. You think of Hollywood. You think of Universal Studios and HBO and Facebook and Microsoft and Apple. They shine and they glow with rich and wealth and power, and Washington, D.C., and the Big Apple and Hollywood and Las Vegas and Los Angeles and Miami. They're shining with such power, such promise, because of all the strength and glory that they have. Well, they won't have that anymore. How art thou cut down to the ground, which did is weaken the nations? How did they weaken the nations? With their sanctions, with embargoes, with bombing, with their Air Force and Marines and their economic sanctions and international policies and NATO and the United Nations. They've done this. And now here it's talking about again, when it talks about the man of sin in 2 Thessalonians, this is also written here in Isaiah. For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. Ascend means to go up into heaven. Heaven is up into the sky, into the clouds. How do you know what it's talking about? Keep reading. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. Who are the Lord's stars? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. What else are God's stars? God's stars are in outer space. Who made a throne in space? The International Space Station. You understand? So now when he says, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. Who's the mount of the congregation? The mountain of the Lord is in Jerusalem. Who sits there? Oppressors. The Jewish man. Not the real Jews. According to Deuteronomy 28 and 68, the Jews went into slavery in ships. The Jews were on reservations. They had the buffalo slaughtered away from them. Their sons and daughters taken away in dog cages, like INS detention centers. That's what happened to the children of Israel. There's a fake Jew claiming to be the children of Israel that sits upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. What's in the north? North America, which is where America is. That's the seat and the power and authority of all of the economic sanctions, the United Nations, all of the wealth and power for the United and all the NATO allies that make all the dictations across the world, that's where their power comes from. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. That's outer space. I will be like the Most High. Who did that? The oppressor. And the Lord said, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, to the bottomless pit, talking about that never-ending warfare that seems like it's going on forever. That's World War III. That's where we headed right now. You understand? And it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee. They're going to squint their eyes like, I know him. Who's that over there? Who's that? Is that Tom Cruise? Who is that? Is that Tom Hanks? Is that Donald Trump? It says they're going to look at thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms with your predator drones and your bunker buster bombs and your Navy and your destroyers and your Marines and your 82nd Airbornes and your M16s and your AK-47s and your tanks and your Apaches and your C-130s? You made the earth shake. You passed laws to make the earth shake. You send your troops to make the earth shake. All in Asia, and Korea, and Japan, and Vietnam, the atomic bombs, the Middle East, all on Africa, starting wars, instituting apartheid, stealing all the resources that made the world a wilderness. How do you make the world a wilderness? You make it a place with no resources. And why is it a place with no resources? Because they've stolen all the resources from the Puerto Ricans. They stole the resources from the Guatemalans and the Mexicans. That's why they're starving. They stole the resources from Venezuela, stole their oil, stole the rubber trees from the West Africans, and the diamonds and the cocoa beans and the chocolate and the oil and the palm oil and the this and the that. They've stolen everything, along with all the riches they could everywhere, the lithium from the mountains and the cobalt from the Congo and the Central African Republic, and all the gold and oil and the wealth that they've taken from the Afghans and the Arabs in the Middle East. They've stolen it everywhere. They stole Europe, stole all of the land that belonged to the Japhetic tribes that ran to the Polynesian and Hawaiian Islands to get away from the cavemen that came from the caves that formulated the Greco-Roman Empire. You understand? These barbarians that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. No place on the planet has more prisoners than America. You understand? Mass incarceration is an American thing. Only China and America is the ones that's imprisoning everybody. Like, this is what it's talking about. And this is how they're going to be viewed when the Lord wipes them out. That's what's starting to happen now. The Lord said this in 21, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity, for the sins and the crimes of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land. The Lord doesn't want them to ever own any land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, your reputation, the remnant, whoever remains that was in charge, that had any power there, the son, the offspring, the future generations, the nephew, the relatives, and the cousins, saith the Lord. The Lord said, I'm going to cut them off completely, because this is what salvation is about. This is what it's about. This is the only way you get it, is if the slave master is no longer free to roam about and be free. If he does not pay for the crimes that his forefathers and their children have done, then your life does not matter. Our lives don't matter. We cannot have salvation unless the Lord brings judgment. And that's what's coming. Last thing, Luke chapter 1 and verse 71. Like, this is what it's talking about, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant. Like, this is the whole purpose of salvation, is for us to be delivered from them. You understand? So with that, we're gonna end it there. All right, Most High in Christ. All right, we're gonna pick it up to continue in that Hebrews 11th chapter, Lord willing, next week. All right, be sure to pay your tithes. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. ISUPK.com right here. ISUPK, No Cowards, Virginia. ISUPK, Virginia. ISUPK, Richmond. Like, share, and subscribe. You understand? And with that, to the brothers, one courtesy salute. Y'all by Shemel Shabbat Thumb. To the sisters, Yahweh Shemor Alathun. By Shem Yahweh Shah. This Sunday we have coming up is going to be the Day of Atonement. Sundown, the Day of Atonement. That's going to be no food, no drink. Sundown to sundown. No food, no drink. You understand? So make sure you get prepared, get ready. So the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK. We start out at 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite groups. If you're not in the ISUPK, you're not serving Christ, you're not in the truth, you're not following the Most High. When a brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only and here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After this 6-month period, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's an additional 6-month period in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10, means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you. Go right isupk.com. You can pay your tithes right there very easily. Priest fund, free will offer for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. The up and coming holy convocation, just as we were mentioning there. You understand? Day of Atonement should be this sundown coming up, 24 hours, no food, no drink. All right. And with that, if any brother wants to become a trooper in the school, it'll be in all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, war scarf. You understand? Make sure you contact the ISUPK school and whatever city and state that you are in. You understand? Sisters as well, make sure you contact the school. All right. Make sure you lock all the way in, that you're not just watching classes online. It's not by mistake that you happen, as it seems, to be in these classes here or to click on this video. Time is running short. This empire is wrapping up. And with that, shalom. Y'all by Shem Shah Brakatham to the brothers. Y'all Shemar Alathon by Shem Shah to the sisters. Shalom. The water.